For years, it was called one of the most innovative companies in America.
Admired, praised, unstoppable. Until the world discovered that much of it was never real at all.
Things you've never seen now revealed.
This is Money in Detail. For most of the 1990s, if you asked Wall Street to name the most brilliant, most innovative company in America, one name came up again and again: Enron. A Houston energy giant that seemed to reinvent how business was done. Its stock soared. Its executives were treated like geniuses. Magazines put it on their covers. And then, in a matter of weeks in 2001, it all vanished. Enron didn't just fall. It became, at the time, the largest corporate bankruptcy in the history of the United States. And the reason why is a warning that never gets old.
To understand the collapse, you first have to understand the illusion. On paper, Enron looked spectacular. Growing profits, a soaring share price, a story of endless innovation. Investors poured in, employees put their savings, their retirement accounts into the company's stock, believing they were riding the winner of the century. But underneath that shining surface, something was very wrong. Because a lot of what made Enron look so healthy wasn't real. It was engineered to look that way.
Here's the trick, in simple terms. Every company has debts, money it owes. And debts make a company look weaker, riskier. Enron didn't want investors to see its growing pile of debt. So it used complex financial structures to move that debt off its own books, hiding it inside other entities, out of plain sight. On the balance sheet everyone looked at, the debt seemed to shrink or disappear. And the profits? They were inflated, made to look bigger than the real business could justify. The result was a portrait of a company that was far stronger than it actually was.
Think about what that means. Investors, employees, analysts, they were all making decisions based on numbers. Should I buy the stock? Should I keep my savings here? Is this company safe? And the numbers said yes, everything is wonderful. But the numbers were a mask. And when your entire sense of safety is built on a mask, you are in far more danger than you feel. That's the cruelest part of financial illusions. They feel safest right before they shatter.
And in late 2001, the mask came off. As questions mounted and an investigation began, the hidden debts and the inflated profits started coming to light. And once the truth began to surface, it moved fast. Confidence is the fuel of any company's value, and confidence, once broken, collapses in an instant. Enron's stock, once worth a fortune, crashed toward nothing. In December 2001, the company filed for bankruptcy. The most admired company in America was suddenly one of the most infamous.
The damage was staggering. Shareholders lost around $74 billion. Thousands of employees lost their jobs. And far worse, many lost their retirement savings, which had been tied up in the company's own stock. People who had worked their whole lives watched their future evaporate in weeks, through no fault of their own. And the fallout didn't stop at Enron. It brought down Arthur Andersen, one of the 5 largest accounting firms in the world, which had signed off on the numbers. One lie and an entire empire of trust came down with it.
And if you think a scheme this bold could never happen again in the modern world, think again. Decades later, a young founder built a crypto empire worth billions using a strikingly familiar playbook. But that story, that's for another episode.
Now here's why this matters to you. Even if Enron collapsed before you ever owned a single stock, the lesson isn't energy companies are dangerous. The lesson is about how you judge any success story. Enron was celebrated precisely because it was complicated. When people couldn't fully understand how it made money, they assumed that was a sign of genius. But history keeps teaching the opposite. When a business is so complex that no one can clearly explain how it actually earns its profits, that complexity isn't always brilliance. Sometimes it's a place to hide.
That single idea could protect you for the rest of your life. If someone offers you an investment, a company, a scheme, and you cannot understand in plain words where the returns actually come from, that is not a reason to trust it more. It's a reason to slow down. The most dangerous frauds don't look like scams. They look like the smartest people in the room, doing something too sophisticated for you to question. Enron wasn't exposed by a genius. It fell apart because reality, in the end, always checks the math.
And there was a reckoning. Senior Enron executives were put on trial and convicted of fraud and conspiracy, proof in a court of law that this wasn't just bad luck or a bad quarter. It was deception. But no verdict could give the employees back their lost retirements. That's the part that lingers. The powerful faces of a scandal get the headlines, but the real weight falls on ordinary people who simply trusted the numbers they were shown.
The collapse was so severe that it changed the law itself. In 2002, the United States passed a sweeping reform, the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, forcing companies to be far more honest and transparent in their financial reporting, and holding top executives personally responsible for the numbers they sign. In other words, an entire country rewrote its rules because one company's lie was so big. That's how deep the wound went. And it's a reminder that the systems meant to protect your money are often written in the ashes of the last disaster.
And anyone who lived through it remembers the shock. A company everyone admired, gone almost overnight. It taught a generation a hard truth. Reputation is not the same as reality. The most praised name, the most confident executive, the most impressive chart, none of it guarantees that the foundation underneath is solid. The only thing that truly protects you is asking the uncomfortable question that the crowd is too excited to ask.
So the next time you hear about an unstoppable company, a can't-lose investment, a genius whose success no one can quite explain, remember Enron. Remember the $74 billion. Remember the employees who trusted the numbers. And remember the simple question that cuts through almost every financial illusion ever built. Where exactly does the money come from? If no one can answer that clearly, you already have your answer.
Money speaks a language full of details that go unnoticed, until the day they decide everything. Learning to read those details won't make you rich overnight, but it can stop you from losing everything overnight. And in the world of finance, avoiding the great loss is already half of the great victory. That's why we look at money in detail. Now tell me down in the comments, did you remember the Enron collapse? Or have you ever been tempted by a success story that seemed too good to question? Write it down, and we read them all. And if this made you think differently about money, leave a like and a comment. It's what helps the channel grow. Next episode, the crypto empire that used the very same playbook. See you there.